Good morning, Tokyo. So I just landed last night, got to the hotel, and I'm just outside of the hotel. Today's review is for the hotel Sunroute Asakusa. And I know I'm not pronouncing that right. It's like Asakusa or something like that, but bear with me. So the hotel Sunroute is a small chain here in Japan. This is the building. It's a pretty decent sized building. I'm on floor 8. I believe there are like 10. And it's 6 in the morning, and this is not an early rising kind of city. As you can see, like literally nothing's open and there are almost no cars on the street. So I'm staying here for 2 nights. Like I said, I got here at the hotel at about 9 p.m. last night. And these are the front doors. It's about a 9 or 10 minute walk from the Asakusa station, and I'll get into that a little bit later. There is a restaurant here attached to the hotel, so you can have breakfast, lunch, whatever, and it's pretty comparable to the hotels around it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you this area when things pick up, but there's a Yoshinoya across the street. You're probably familiar with that from the United States. I think it's the same one actually, probably the original. And we'll take a little tour of the hotel, so let's go in and check it out. Okay, so I'm back. So this is the front of the hotel. You walk in, doors slide open. There's some brochures and maps here. I'm sure you don't even need to use any of those things. Check-in is pretty quick. You just check in here. There is a restaurant that way, and there is free Wi-Fi. And there's a restaurant on the second floor, just so you know. And the restaurant's not too bad. They have like a, oops, sorry. Here's a menu. They have their version of a breakfast, somewhat Western style, but it's a plethora of things. It's about 1,300 yuan or yen or whatever it is, about $10 US. I just had it, it was pretty good. You don't have to think. But across the street, there are a million other things. There's a million bakeries and places where you can get a pretty hearty breakfast for about half of that with a drink. So I'm on the 8th floor. Let's go check it out. All right, so you get off the elevator, turn left. I'm in room 808. Just so you know, there's a vending machine on almost every floor with a bunch of drinks. They're actually fairly economical, like $1 US. I stayed in 808 for your reference. This is considered, I think, a deluxe room. So it was a lot of fun last night when I checked in, because I see this narrow hallway. I'm like, oh, it's gonna open up to the rest of the expansive hotel room, and no. This is the hotel room. The closet, I'm not exaggerating, is probably like 10 inches across here. It is true what they say. What's this? Tissue. It is true what they say. Things are smaller here when it comes to accommodations. So yes, I've thrown this room apart. Forgive it. I'm tearing it up because I got in late last night and there's not much space. But this is the entire room. It is smaller than my closet at home. And I'm not complaining, by the way. That's normal for Japan. It's kind of cute. You kind of get used to it. It makes it a little bit more complicated when you have a suitcase, because you don't really have that extra room to, like, you know, open it up and what have you. But let's take a look. I got a nice little view out here of the Yoshinoya. But this is a fantastic street. All the streets are really good. They're just lined with these really cool and cute, you know, bakeries and little shops. And, you know, one thing I'll say, people don't really speak English here. You probably know that, but just, I suggest downloading Google Translate and like downloading a dictionary for it. But this is the room. And I'll do a little recap in a second with some tips. But this is the TV. I didn't see any English channels. There was a movie channel for video on demand. However, the downside, I was kind of surprised, is you pay for it. So you have to go to a vending machine outside the room and pay for the movies you want. There is air conditioning. It is nice and cold. It's very humid here in Japan. So, you know, it's supposed to rain later today, but it's generally been like upwards of 115 degrees Fahrenheit with the humidity. So do be prepared for that if you're not from a humid climate. This is the cute little bathroom. You have to step up into it. Also small, but, you know, super efficient. It kind of reminds me of the type of bathroom you'd see in a cruise ship. And of course you have your famous Japanese toilet. with everything in there, you know, the to wash your butt and deodorizing and what have you. I really appreciate that because I like them so much. I installed these in my home. It does come with some toiletries. I took the toothbrush already, soap, full shower. So it's pretty cute and small. There is, I don't know what this is. I really don't. I'm gonna probably play with it later if I have time. There is free Wi-Fi, and there's also, just so you know, a little fridge, a little refrigerator here. And that's pretty much the room. So let me give you my recap in a second here. All right, guys, you're in for a treat. I showed you before what the little one bedroom looks like where it was puny. And now I am in the 2-bedroom because my tour is starting soon and I'm gonna have my roommate. So you can see the closet is much bigger. Comes with a little bit of tea, I think. Bathroom is more or less the same size. Comes with shampoo and soap and all that fun stuff. And it is way bigger. There are 2 beds. And you can actually stretch out just a little bit more. Put your suitcase and whatever. The TV's even bigger in this room. And a lot more window space. So, just in case you're wondering what the 2-bedroom looks like at the Sunroute Hotel Asakusa or Asakusa, this is what it is. Yep. Hope you enjoy the video. And oh, one thing I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention the other video. There is free beer. Believe it or not, there's a happy hour in the lobby, and the hotel gives you free beer from 4 to 7 p.m. I believe. So I thought you guys might find that interesting. All right, so I'm back. Take it easy. So where were we? So yeah, I wanted to give you a bit of a recap. So I ended up with tax, paid about $83 US for this room. It did not come with breakfast. It does come with, you know, Wi-Fi. Although that's included in every room, so make sure to not pay extra for that. I booked on Agoda as I usually do for these rooms. And the reason I booked this hotel in the first place is because I'm starting a tour today with a company called Travel Talk. I usually use G Adventures, historically Kontiki when I was, less than 35 years old. I wish I still were, but anyhow. So Travel Talk's an up-and-coming company, giving them a quick plug right now. This is my first time using them, and I'm going to be doing an 8-day trip, Highlights of Japan it's called. So the tour starts here in this hotel today. So I just came in a night early, and that's why I booked this hotel, because this is where the tour launches from. So a couple things. The confusion for me was not the hotel, but I researched on the internet. I didn't have much time, and I was like, man, how do I get from the airport to the hotel? Because I was coming in like in the evening, and I understood and had advanced notice that people here generally don't speak much English. Thankfully, when I got to the airport, I just crossed my fingers and I asked, I went to the railway area, which is going down some stairs, and I just pointed to my hotel on a map, which I printed out, and right away the guy said, orange line, so you have 3 minutes to make it. So I scrambled to get a ticket, and they were only taking cash, so I had to quickly convert money to US dollars to Japanese money, buy my ticket, then sprint down the corridor to get the train. And then it got more confusing because I didn't know where the hell to get off. It made it seem like I had to get off in like 3 or 4 stops, but it was really an hour away. So that's important for you to know as well, that if you're coming straight from the airport here and you are taking the metro, I came at night, which the subway wasn't crowded. I think it was called the Access line. It took me about, I'm going to say like a little bit over an hour. So be prepared. And you do get off at Asakusa Station, or however it is you pronounce it. So you're not going to see it right away. So be patient, because you'll think that you need to jump and get off subway lines and change subways. You don't, thankfully. You can also take some sort of airport limousine that some people on YouTube talk about a lot. I was thinking of doing that, but I've had so much going on in my personal life. I didn't have time to really homework all of that stuff and actually get it going. So I just crossed my fingers and jumped on a train. Thank God I got off at the station, and getting to the hotel was fairly straightforward. Your iPhone should work here if you're on T-Mobile. I'm a big T-Mobile advocate because my phone works internationally without extra charges. So I was able to use the map on my phone to get here, but even without it, it would have been pretty straightforward because it's right off of a main street and on another main street. So you can't really miss it. I highly recommend you know, going on Google satellite images or the hotel's website to look at what the building looks like. So even in the night, when you see it, it'll stick out. Not that it's some fancy building, but if you look at the other buildings around here, you know, they're all kind of like unique. So you'll be able to understand what I mean. What else can I tell you? So that's my tip, really. I don't want to get into too much of like whether you should get a JR pass and stuff like that, because I didn't do that because I'm on a tour, or I will be on a tour. However, having said all that, do plan as much as you can in advance and then just wing it. You know, people here are famous for being super, super friendly. I haven't really interacted with many people yet. I just got here, obviously, last night. I don't anticipate they won't be friendly, but you know, there's one thing for money exchange. You can do it at the airport. Obviously, the rate's not as good. To give you an example, I think I got like 135 to $1 last night, but this is really cool. At the 7-Elevens and other places, they have this thing called money exchange. It looks like it's basically an ATM. It looks like an ATM. It's a type of ATM, I suppose. And it's actually a money changer. So they claim there's no commission and there's no foreign transaction fee. So you put in your US dollars or whatever denomination or currency you have, and it spits out the Japanese yen. So to compare, I got 135 at the airport last night. This morning I got 139 at that machine. So I think I'm going to use those going forward. My American Express works here everywhere so far. I've used it a few places, and I like using my Platinum card because, man, this friggin' video is turning into a plug for T-Mobile, Amex, and Travel Talks. I think I should get sponsors one day. But the great thing with the Amex, Platinum, and whatever credit card you use when you travel, I hope you're using one that doesn't have foreign transaction fees. So that's why I try to use my Amex. Or if you have one of these other ones like Sapphire. I also heard Charles Schwab, if you open a bank account with them, which you never hear about from anybody, they don't have any ATM fees. So I've had friends that are world travelers, and they would tell me they had a Charles Schwab account, which I thought, who the hell has a Charles Schwab bank account? I always just assumed it was some gazillionaire that would have an account like that. But they always told me, no, the only reason they have the account is anybody can open one, and you can use pretty much any ATM in the world, and they waive the, you know, any ATM fees, which can add up over time. So that is my review. I give this hotel, what do I give it? I'll give it the 69 stars out of 69. I mean, why not? It was a nice check-in. The location is incredible. You're walking literally steps away from a whole bunch of attractions, restaurants, nightlife, and what have you. So, and I thought it was very easy to get here from the airport, and I got here without really much planning or whatnot. So that was a huge boon, because the airport is, like I said, it's an hour away at least. If you take a bus, I think it's even longer. So that is my review of the Sunroute Hotel Asakusa specifically. So there are several of these Sunroute hotels. It's a small chain in Japan, as I'd mentioned earlier. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. You know, I'm happy. I always check them. I always answer them. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next hotel. Take it easy. And just for good measure, this is what the Asakusa station, that's what it looks like in Japanese. It's part of the Ginza line. It was very confusing to me at the beginning as well, because you get to the airport and there are like a trillion subways, it seems, and you don't know which one to take, and they all seem to go in the same to the same place, but they don't at the same time. So this kind of gives you guidance on where you should get off and what it should look like when you get up from the subway system. The only problem is if it's the night, you're kind of screwed because none of the stuff means anything. Okay, I'm gonna make your life a little bit easier. So this is the Asakusa station. It extends, like, there are various exits around here. So this is what the area looks like. You'll see there's like Baskin Robbins, there's a huge Burger King. It's one of these giant intersections. It's very quiet right now, and you're next to the river. So how it works is when you get out of the Asakusa station from the your airport transit, you can get off at different I don't know about platforms, but there are different exits to get off at inside of that station. So get off, or come up, I should say, I think it's platform A4 or exit A4, and that's gonna take you right to this street, this main street, where you can just walk pretty much straight and then left to the hotel. So that's my advice for you right now. Okay, so for those wondering, you can use that tall building as a landmark. This is the main street that will take you to the Sunroute Hotel, Asakusa. This street is called Kaminarimon, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but anyhow, good thing is there are a lot of maps everywhere, and they have just enough English for you to figure it out. But this one's a really easy hotel to get to because it's a main street and it's pretty wide. So you just get off at the station down the street. You walk down the street for about 7 or 8 minutes. You hit a dead end on the street and then you turn left, and that Asakusa Sunroute Hotel is right there. Normally the street is bustling in the morning and the afternoon. It's 6 o'clock though, so nobody's awake. I like it already. I'm not an early riser, but you know, jet lag. Tons of restaurants here, tons of touristy and sightseeing things down these side streets, more like what you'd probably expect to see. And that's it. So let's go take a look at a few other things while we review this hotel.